Namsa here at Ngosi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. So with me today, I'm with Shireen Lovegrove and Carol Ann Cooper. How are you, ladies?
Well, thank
We're
you.
very good, thank you,
Yeah.
Nomsa.
And yourself?
I am good, thank you.
Lovely.
So the topic is the secret stack, what Impress teach us about growth. What Impasses teaches us about growth. Stuck is not a failure, it's a holy pose. It's the soul's way of saying what got you here won't get you there. In between an old identity and a new beginning, our habits are revealed, motives are refined, and our courage is called forth. Secret stack is the chrysalis, hidden constricting and absolutely necessary, where we learn to befriend. What's happened today? Impasses, instead of fleeing them, we convert pressure into purpose, pain into pattern, recognitions and waiting into wisdom. So today's talk show, in this video, we're going to show you how to honor the pause, metabolize the resistance, and re-enter life with clear vision, deeper love, and stronger alignment. Carol Annie chose this topic. What was on your mind when you chose the topic?
The word impasse.
Mm.
It came up in a conversation. I just used it as I was talking, and I was like, "Oh, what does that mean? Have I used the right word?" You know,
I'm at an impasse, yes.
yeah. And when I looked it up, it was like, "Oh, yes, I have." It was like there's this impasse, this stuckness. Um, and then so looking at that word, I just thought, well, I wonder where, the other places that happens, and perhaps it's something we could explore here because it's where sort of forward movement seems impossible. It's like you're stuck in something, whether it's an argument with somebody else or whether it's with yourself or a situation.
Mm-hmm.
There's an impasse. There's no forward movement. It's like, what do I do? So that's where it came from. And I thought, well, I liked the title about, well, what does it actually teach us about growth? Because is it something else? Is it just a complete stuckness and that's it? Or is there something else here a bit deeper, something we can learn to then move? And perhaps it's something that's calling us to grow, to expand, or, so looking at perhaps different situations, there's sort of things emotionally, there's in relationships, in career, even in sort of there's a spiritual aspect perhaps here, so looking at all these different scenarios and whichever ones you two sort of think about as we're talking here. So, what did the title throw up for you when you hear that word impasse?
Mm.
Mm.
Well, I think I loved what you did was you said it was a sacred impasse. So that just immediately, woo, it brings me into think, okay, it's a sacred. There's something about something very reverent about the impasse, right?
Mm.
And I was just really going to look up what impasse was because I was just thinking, but a play on words is I am, right? The and the pass is I am pass. I'm thinking in that for the thing. What does that mean? If I look at it from those kinds of perspectives, and I was thinking it's about I'm in a state of something, and I'm not in a state of nothingness. I'm in a state of something which is one. It's going to pass because the word pass is already in there, but I'm at a state where the passing is not ready yet.
Mm.
So that was the bit that sort of got me thinking a little about that and thinking more in the sense of, what would be the reason we would have impasses. And yes, there is this sacredness, and we hear about that, but there's a definite biological reason that we have impasses as well, right? Often we have impasses when we are overloaded with information and we don't know yet, or we haven't found a place to sort. And so our brain is literally in a state of holding until something can come through, right? And generally, we know that if we are stressed, because often what happens is when we're in impasse, we get stressed even more so. Why is this happening to me? What's going on? That we then, this causes in the brain to actually shut down even more. And that means that those messages, those intuitions, those bits of insight just don't come through. Well, they'll come through eventually once we've calmed down. When we sit in the impasse, that's when we get all the information that we need from our deeper, wiser self. And I think that that is something which what the impasse is trying to do for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sacredness is saying you have to go in, you have to stop. This is about stopping and not doing what you keep doing. I always find it really interesting that most insights, most illuminations happen when we're not thinking about them. Often we're doing mindless tasks, and all of a sudden, and I'm sure that many of us will have experienced that, of the listeners, and certainly you and I, how many times have you sat there, gone walking, particularly walking's very good, up in a mountain, all of a sudden so many thoughts come to me, purely because I'm not thinking about work. I'm thinking about other things that make me happy, but that causes my brain to relax a little bit. And all those things that I have been thinking about before start to find their way in a different way, in a different sort of pathway. And so we start to have those eliminations. So yeah, that was really what was coming in for me when I was thinking about impasse. And there's so many times in life that we need to understand impasse so acutely, is particularly with people, women that are pregnant. I was a pregnancy coach, and one of the things is everyone wants to do everything during pregnancy, but your pregnancy is going to last 6 months. It takes 6 months for you, but it takes pregnancy lasts 9 months.
9 months.
Sorry, generally a healthy pregnancy. Give me
Yes.
that correctly.
Thank you.
Yeah, I could see you. Oh, what have I said? And of course, we can't rush that. And so it's the perfect impasse time. So we have these where we can get information, learn, and really start to change things in that time. And in the same kind of situation with anyone that is stuck, it is a real core message is that actually this is really a time to go deeper, to root knowledge, to expand it, the breadth, the length and the breadth of stuff. So if we think about the impasse, our brain is neural networks. It's like a tree. It's like, all these connections. We want the connections to actually connect. And that requires a little bit of time to do that. And I think that's, for me, that's what the sacred impasse is. The sacred impasse is about, you shall not pass until you've done this, until you found the thing that you need to find.
I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. Yeah. So I also think it's life's way of saying, oh, stop running,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's time to realign.
Exactly.
So I love that. So yeah, I thought of going deeper. Namsa.
Yeah, I love what you guys have just said, and thank you for the topic, Carol Anne. As always, you always challenge us, and I like what you both said about the word impasse, and also what Shireen just said in Carol Anne right now, like the words is telling us not to run away, and it just, for me, I like stand still. That's my favorite word. And I like what you both said in different ways. Like when you're not thinking about things, you found a solution. I find when I'm trying to force things to happen, nothing happens. But when I let it go and like have a clarity of the confusion, let it go of that confusion, and align myself with what I'm trying to achieve, instead of stacking myself more. So I always let it go and just evaluate what is limiting me without judgment, because it's very easy to look at the words, and when we see stuck, when we see impasse, and then we judge ourselves. Like always ask myself, what exactly is not moving? What's the decision that I should take in this habit belief, if there is a belief in that place, and also really test myself with against that reality, if there is a belief that I'm believing, and just stand still and just let everything come to me. Because when you are stuck, if you ask people about your problems, too many people, you have to have one person that can direct you. Maybe sometimes can say something where they can help you, or just be silence, and then everything just unfold unexpected. So that's my belief about Carol Anna's topic, that if you are stuck, and this word impasses, like you said, most illumination happen when we are not thinking about them, Shireen. So for me, that's where I stop thinking. And Hopper's dad, they actually used to get annoyed thinking I'm not normal. And then he come back to me, he was like, now I get it. And I'll be like, listen, if I don't talk about something, if I talk about it to people, too many people, or to you, it makes me get comfortable. But if I sit down and hand it over to God and stop talking and just listen to his voice, what he's saying, then I find the solution. The guy used to get annoyed. It's like, you're annoying. But then he came back and he was like, he hate to say this, but I'm following your footsteps. I was like, it took you so long. So thank you, Carol Ann, for the topic. I love the topic.
Yeah, you're welcome. And actually, you know what you're saying, because at the heart of every impasse, there's this sort of battle for control and trust. And that's what I was hearing you saying, Nom. So, there's that surrender, it's that whole handing over in the end, because there's a part of you wants to control it all and make sure you're going to get what you want. But there's another aspect that's going, trust. And so there's this like a stalemate, isn't it? That's what another word there is.
Battle
for
of
impasse,
wills.
a battle of wills, absolutely. I've got to make sure this works. And it's like, no, let go, trust. Oh. So, what's being asked there, this sacred stuckness, I do like this word, this phrase. Maybe it's just asking us to surrender, and it's not about giving up. It's about giving over, handing over to the higher power, and just allowing something to come through, as you were saying, Nonce. It's just allowing something to come through. And so what would that look like in practice? That's a sort of how do we know when we're ready? And so I guess it's that recognizing that part of us that wants to control the outcome. And I've been doing that recently in the last few months, recognizing how much I've been trying to control the outcome, and therefore been stopping myself from taking action. Because it's like, I have to know what the outcome is going to be. Well, it's like, no, just relax, just let go and take some steps and trust that what will happen will be what you want, or it'll be something that will give you what you've been after, but it might not be exactly what you're looking for, or in the shape that you're looking for, or the form. And so it is having that trust to let go of control, and just allow something to come through.
Mm.
But it's not making wrong that battle inside of you. It's actually breathing into it and acknowledging the control, that need to control. And I was just having that conversation and just maybe saying, well, what if we could just let go for a moment?
Mm.
What might happen then? Just a moment, 1 minute, or just for a little bit. And then what if we could let go a bit longer? So it's taking it a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
I have someone who he often talks about breaking things down into steps of what you can do. And if you're really stuck with something, well, perhaps can you, if you're trying to write something, well, can you pick up the pen? Well, okay, yes, I can do that.
Yeah.
But can you write a word? Well, no. Okay, so could you just make a mark on the paper? Oh, yes, I could just do that, make a mark, So you get the body sort of going, okay, yes, that's okay. So the control of wanting to make sure it's exactly what you want just lets go, and you then get movement out of it. So yeah, it's not sort of forcing it or fighting it. It's this sort of dance. It's that letting go and surrendering, and something will come through. And I'm sort of hearing those words, and I can feel myself going, okay. This is very relevant right now for me. Well, I think it's relevant a lot of the time, but right now I'm aware of part of me still trying to control things, and there's sort of various impasses going on. So yeah, that control versus surrender is very much that's sort of a spiritual aspect of an impasse. Oh, and I like what you said, Shireen. Time to get the information and change things, because there's something maybe coming through that you're missing, in that wanting to control and get moving forward with it. So it's stopping and letting through something that you've probably not even thought about. And therefore you might have to change tack a bit in what you're doing, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you reminded me about, writing and then just, breaking it down into very tiny steps. What can you do? What can you do? What can you do? Can you do this? Can you do that? Really has that forward movement, which then kind of can take us out of the impasse. Because actually, while we're doing that, we're letting go. We're actually surrendering because we're doing. So it's the paradox. Life is a paradox, isn't it? And yes, I really liked the talking in the sense of the control versus the surrender. So these two aspects of ourself, our left, and we can say it's our left and our right side of our brain. It is kind of a similar thing. We always have a you and a you. It's always there. And so there's a you that wants to do things, and there's a you that doesn't. So there's a wiser one. And I think it is the war. And I think it's all charged up. And I certainly believe that actually a lot of the time, for us to shift and to change, what happens from a neurological perspective is we need to have something override to some degree. So what happens is you need to have a big enough wavelength for things to move. Things have to come up to enough of a wavelength for us to actually understand an amplitude of that. So when we're in this struggle, there's this equal charge, right? There's nowhere for anything to go. So that's when you said that what can you do, right? What can you do tells the brain this is not an impasse as such. It's just a moment. And so just in doing that relaxes us, takes the idea that we're not out of control, we're actually in control. So in actual fact, the letting go is the control. So we don't often think about it that way. We don't think that letting go gives us greater control. And so when you use when you say, okay, you're going to write, what are you going to put on the paper, right? Just can you do a squiggle? Can you do this? That you're actively now taking control. even though you're letting go. It's an amazing paradox, but it's a lovely way to think about it, because it is the pathway through, right? It is the pathway through, and we need to have it that our brain and our mind is calm and relaxed so that we can do forward direction. So that for me is a really important key. So maybe what's useful when we're at an impasse is really to notice how we're going to approach it, right? How are we going to see it? Are we going to see it as something that we're going to run away from? Are we going to push and we're going to resist? Are we going to avoid it? Are we just going to give up? What are we going to do? So really give yourself the opportunity to just be curious. What is it? Am I pushing against it? So what am I really fighting here, right? I'm fighting this and I'm fighting that. Oh, okay, let's work on that. So if I'm pushing, what's making me push? What's behind that? So that I can, and is that really true? Do I need to push in this way? Can I push in a different way? Right? So, and could it be a push could it be a pull instead of a push? How do I do that? So that you can just allow yourself to free the way when we're stressed, that constraint that stops us from making those connections. And if you're avoiding, well, be aware of what am I afraid of course. Yeah, we've always got to be that. A lot of people speak to me about surrender and ask, how do I just surrender? Actually, I do think in surrendering is very often when we do things like when we have our second win in running, right? We're running, and then all of a sudden endorphins come in and we just run and we don't think about anything. That's a kind of surrender. We can surrender the moment we give ourselves a permission to do something. So if we say, okay, right now I'm just going to do that, we're surrendering because we've already given ourselves permission. So if you think about it in the sense of, oh, I'm just going to write something down, just go, I give myself permission to write this. I give myself permission to do this. And often because our part of our brain that's trying to control us won't give the other part permission, if we just give ourselves permission, then the controller often reduces down quite dramatically. So yeah, just I give myself permission. I give myself permission to just stamp my foot. Ah, that's nice. Your mood changes, things change, you feel better, right? So there are many ways to get out of the impasse, but we also really need to understand sometimes there is an impasse that is going to take time. An impasse that really wants us to reconnect, to realign, and that takes a deeper growing, a deeper state of quietness. And that's, and I think that when that impasse comes, we need to be able to recognize it and honor it for what it is. And sometimes, I mean, a lot of people that are doing stuff where they try to find, say, their message, marketing message, until you really sit in that message, you sit in what it is that you want and how you want to word it and how you want to phrase things. Nothing really transpires until you get the bit that needs to be there, right? And that requires a lot of our soul to connect to us. So we can only connect to our soul easily when we actually take time to listen to it. So the impasse for me is when it's in that kind of impasse, this is about, hey, my soul is calling me, and it's stopping me from doing everything else because it's now got a message it wants to tell me. It's the signal of the soul.
That's nice. I like that. Signal of the soul.
Yeah.
Signal of
Nomsa.
the soul. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, Shireen, when you said how we're going to approach, like you said, the impasse, you have to think about how to approach it. and also what's behind the push if we are pushing. Because, and also you made an example about the message, like if we were trying to do the marketing, putting the message across, unless you sit on that message, that's when we actually you actually get the message like what you're putting. So there's this guy from the media, so they kept giving me award, and then I asked them, I said, why do you guys keep giving me award? They said, we're giving you award because of your company, your Instagram. If you go to other matchmakers, what they all do is they all talk about, their advertising is the same when they're putting the message. But for your company, it's like this is the family and this is what I represent. I create families because when I go out, like if I go to a business event, I always put everything on my Instagram, everything put about love. And every post is all about love, what love can do, and things like that. So it was like, is that thing where you always put things different? Your message is always, it's very simple and very different. It was like we spend time and on your Instagram snooping around. I was like, oh, okay. But some people who are professional marketers, they always trying to get me out of it. But that guy showed me that no, I shouldn't get out of my system that I'm doing.
Mhm.
And also, I like Carol Ann, what he said. How do we know when we are running? We are running. We've been trying to control, like you mentioned yourself, that I've been trying to control the outcome of the situations. And then it's about having a conversation. What if we could let it go in that minute? And I just love Shireen when you mention that honor, that word impact. And I think that is really, really important. And for me, what I do is I used to be like Carol and trying to control the situation. But when I said, like Shireen said, sit on the thing message, like evaluate what you're trying to do, what you're trying to send across. But what I realized is that I was trying to be like everybody else, like my friends. I was trying to catch up. I thought life was a competition until I realized no salary go.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not a competition. When you're stuck, it's okay to be, it's
Mm.
okay. So that's when Shereen's message comes in, where I had to, I think that was 10 years ago. I had to realize that no, I'm okay if I'm stuck. I've got to be okay. When I stop competing with my friends and wanting my life to catch up on them, I need to understand that there are things that I cannot control.
Mm.
That's why we have God. God wants me, there are times where he wants me to stand still. There will be times where he wants me to move forward very quickly. So I need to listen to that voice and I need to understand that my journey where I'm going is just me and just be okay, not trying to push things, trying to push the destiny very fast and trying to control everything. Or sometimes if I'm selling something, I'll try to convince. Even with the clients, I have to make things up. And then I realize, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm
Mm.
not going to try to push and to oversell. If that person is meant for me, they'll come and be with me. If they're not meant for me, they are not meant for me. And guess what? Sometimes clients do come to me, they don't return, they go to other agencies, and then they come back again and they say,
Mhm.
no, sir, I went and paid to somebody else, things didn't work out. I'm like, okay, welcome back. So all those things is just, I think it's just learning to actually listen to our inner voice and listen to the voice of God. If that person believes in God, or you believe in the universe, God is the universe anyway, so we can pretend he's not. So it's just like, I like Carol Annie when you're saying try to push things, trying to control. In life, guys, those who are listening, there are situations where you cannot control. Just let it go and just stand still sometimes.
Let it go.
Stand
Stand
still.
still and
Yeah.
trust. Because what you were saying there just brought back a memory where I was trying to force something quite many years ago. And it was a friend of mine. He was doing some work for me. He was setting up a website and helping me market the healings that I was offering then. And it was like it wasn't happening fast enough. And I was, on his back, sort of pushing him. And I knew that something would break in that. And it was like part of me was saying, stop. And it's like I couldn't. I just had to keep going. And eventually he went, that's it. And he backed off 1,000,000 miles, and that was it. Never spoke to me again for quite a long time. It was like literally something broke. And that's what you need to remember. You can't keep pushing, because if it's not meant to be, it won't happen. It's just letting go and trusting, and recognizing what in you is causing you to be that pushing with it. And actually what was in for me at that time was fear.
Yeah.
It was fear. It's like, it's not going to happen, and I need it to happen now because I'm not going to get money. No, all these da-da-da-da-das going on. And so really what would have been would have been for me to have stopped, listened to all the da-da-da-das and dealt with them, and allowed my friend to get on with what he was doing, and then having a different conversation and trust in that relaxedness and that deeper knowing. So like what you were saying, Shireen, it's something deeper going on here. And Nomsa, you said the same thing. It's allowing that to bubble up and to come to the surface. But it's also recognizing that it's that fear that's driving us. And that fear is trying to keep us safe. And so it's looking at, well, are we safe? And if you don't feel safe, it's really hard to stop that pushing or to release that impasse, So it is about letting go, relaxing and breathing into and reassuring that part of you that doesn't feel safe, that is fearful. And it's quite, it can hold you in quite a strong grip, that fear. And you find yourself enwrapped in it to the extent that you don't really know, you're not aware of what the actions that you're taking and what you're saying. And until that fear can be unwrapped and released, and you bring love into it, you go, oh my goodness, what was I just doing? What was I just saying? You sort of realize the foolishness, and that there's a word that's sort of on the tip of my tongue, but I can't. But it's almost like it's another world. I felt like I came out of that a world that I got enwrapped in, and now I was in a different world that had clarity, and it was like, wow, what was all that about? So yeah, it is giving yourself that time, that space. And I like what you said about getting curious, turning that impasse into curious for what is here. And as you said that, the phrase curiosity killed the cat came to mind. And then it was like, hang on a second, I know there's another bit here. So I just quickly looked it up, and it said, Yeah, curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like
Like,
that.
you know, okay, so that part of you that has got that quote running, curiosity killed the cat. So no, it can't possibly be curious. So there's that impasse. Yeah. It's like, no, but satisfaction brought him back. So allow curiosity to take you through to something that could be, quite satisfying.
Yeah, that of course my mind always goes to neurology. Why would that happen? Why does that go that way?
Yeah.
But I had never heard satisfaction brings it back. And satisfaction is a really interesting word because satisfaction is very much about serotonin release. It's about feeling full and satiated. It feels complete, right?
Right.
And so the curiosity is our innate nature to try and find, right? If we look, our brain likes to change, but it prefers to stay the same. So the curiosity is so very important in that, but it's kind of knowing when to get to the point where we can transfer across to satiation, right? So when do we become satisfied? So part of the impasse is about allowing an integration so that we can experience satiation, right? So it's an integration so that we can feel everything, have it embodied, and that's when we feel much more whole. When we're in an impasse, actually we're not in our body. We're actually often outside our body. You said you're kind of encased and there's something closing you, which is really interesting. So are you really in your body or are you outside watching yourself being kind of encased? I'm just curious. I mean, that's that I would ask those kinds of questions. But there is something about really, if satisfaction brings it back, then it's got to be, so when we're satisfied, aren't we happy? Aren't we just in bliss state? Right? Because now we've connected somehow to the divine in some way, and we're receiving from it, right? When we're curious, unless we're curious from a place of so that's the curiosity. There's two different types of curiosity. Are we going through curiosity, but we're not trusting that what we're finding is right? Or are we going with curiosity in the understanding that we're going to find the answer? It's going to be there. It's there. It's just waiting. We just haven't yet received it yet, right? So there's something about that that's kind of mulling in my mind at the moment when I'm thinking about this, because I love that what you said, Carol. I'm just going to remember that forever now. I wish I had learned that when I was younger. My mum had turned around and said, "But satisfaction!" I tell you, it would have been a whole new world for me. Because I would have turned around and said, "Oh yeah." Can be even more curious, and I'll be happy because I'm going to get satisfaction.
Yes. Yeah, awesome. Hey,
So
but you have it now. You have it now. So I wonder, when it might arise that you could use it.
exactly.
It's
But
always
then there's
perfect
something about,
timing. It's
yeah,
divine
there's something
timing.
about that wording, isn't it? You're quite right. It's timing. There's something about the wording is I'm looking for satisfaction. I'm looking to feel, and then there's this understanding that actually satisfaction is a very much an inbuilt feeling, and understanding that. So when we're in the impasse, that curiosity is what gets us out of the impasse, and the reward is the satisfaction.
I like that. I like that, Sharon. When we're in the impasse, the curiosity that it gets us to satisfaction. Yeah, I think it's good to be curious about things, about life. When we're in that place where we're in that word of impasse, when we just know that things will happen in time. And I like it, Carol Ann, where you said you can't keep pushing, let it go, trust the process, allowing that bubble to just come on its own. when it's ready. And you mentioned about fear as well. This is where Shireen's closing moment, she just stole the show. Carol Ann brought fear and the court, and then Shireen goes, "I'm gonna steal the moment."
No, there was no intention.
No, it's
Yeah, but it's in a good way, though. In a
yeah.
good way, because we are where we are because people around us, and I like the fact that Carol Anne has decided she's gonna just challenge us with unusual topics that are everyday problems that people go through, and I think when you mention that fear, when fear grabs you. I think fear is it's really, really when you fear of doing things and you fear of putting yourself out there and being the person that you want to be. And when I was talking to social services, when they came to the woman came to my house, when she was talking about my daughter, she brings the talk show. And then I said, listen, what is happening now is the fear that is being brought to me that I should not be different. My talk show should not be different. What does my talk show got to do with my daughter? That the talk show is not even good. It's not right for her child safety and things like that. So I said to her, "You're bringing is the fear that people are bringing to me." And when she left, but she was nice anyway. When she left, she was nice, but I think she was pissed off as well. Like her time is wasted. Because she keeps giving me appointment and then she goes, I've just decided to go somewhere else. And then I realize that she's realized over the phone that her time is being wasted. And I think the guy told her that they're just wasting your time, but go. And when she came here, she was more pissed off, I think. But she had to do her work. But then when she was talking, when she left, I said to myself, there's too many people that are trying to move forward to find that breakthrough when they are stuck or when they are changing their lives. But then there are people that come in and cause fear, and those people, they disappear. You never see them again. So I said, this is what is happening in my life. But I was very clear to her. I said, you can all forget about it. With my talk show, that's my identity. This is who I become. So I'm not going to change this. I'm not like gonna sit down and start making some changes. I love God. If I want to talk about God, I will talk about God. And if I want to talk about Satan, I said Satan exists. But it was in those moments myself when I was in the dark that I didn't know. I went to church. I didn't know the Bible talk about Satan until I faced that Satan. Now I'm teaching people. So I'm not going to stop doing that. So you can forget it. So we got that message very, very clear. But now, Carol Ann, when you say when that fear grabs you, it will not let you go. I've been there before myself where I fear like I'm a black person. If I go and do live on social media, who's gonna listen to my social media? This country, United Kingdom, is for white people. Do you think they're gonna listen to me? But those were lies that I was creating, making excuses for myself. But until I let go of that fear. So when Carol Ann talks about fear, I can relate. I've been there. I've had to work on myself to be where my mindset is. And Shireen as well, you talk about be curious. Curiosity will take to satisfaction. So I realize that in order for me to get to where I need to be, I need to be curious about life. I had to look at my life, my destiny. My family were rich before, royal people, and then they lost that title, the anger, they left it behind. What happened? So I started digging, being curious. When I realized that, I realized that actually, I've got to be, if I'm not happy with my life the way it is, I've got to rebuild it different. And that was curiosity and that was life that I've decided. But sometimes the people can actually, so this topic, when the impasses comes in, you got to understand, like being curious, it means your destiny is your destiny. Like Carol Ann, like Shireen, we are three of us here. We're not the same. Some of us might figure things out very quickly, but some we might not. But it's okay. That's why we're all the three of us. Somebody will trigger something, and something like I've been with Carol Ann, I've been with Shireen. I told you guys I took a course. These guys have been helping me to write things properly, to use wordings properly. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna give myself challenge. I gave myself challenge, and that's where I am now because of the people around us. They create. It's important to have good people around us. And it's important, guys, to contact these coaches. Don't just watch them. Please contact Shireen, contact Carol Ann, and contact Nomsa with the troubles that you guys have and get coaching.
I like what you're saying there, because actually what you're saying is there's an aspect of an impasse in our life, that stuckness can actually mean that we need to change our whole approach to a problem.
Yeah.
You know? And I like what you're saying there, Noms, about if you're not happy with life as it is, you need to rebuild it. So again, it's like take a different approach, take a different route, step back for a moment, look at it, rethink it. And something you said, Shireen, about allowing an integration, so it allows satisfaction. And that's brilliant, because it reminded me of there is a process that we do in Brain Gym, and they call it the brain integration. But all you do is you just think about one side of the brain and you take out the other side, and then it's, thinking about your problem or that impasse, and then just feel the two hands coming together. So you, first of all, you sort of focus on, well, how does each side feel? Just get an awareness of each side, and then just allow them to come together. And sometimes you can feel, there has been a time when I've done this and it's like, hands will not go together. And you just breathe into it and give it time.
Yeah.
And Shireen, you said something about time. Sometimes you need to just let it take time. And then all of a sudden it just goes,
yeah.
You can bring it together, just bring it to your heart. And then just imagine, just go, okay, popping it back in again. And you've got, your whole brain firing together. It's not each side, being cross with each other and saying, no, I'm right, we've got to do it this way. It's like, and all of a sudden it's like, I hadn't thought about that. Let's try this. It's amazing. So just that simple activity actually is quite powerful. It's just a small part of some of the other things that I do or weave it into. But just on its own is really powerful. So that's, we're talking about softening and releasing that impasse to allow for other ways to happen. That's just a way. But something else that is possible, if there's perhaps in a relationship where there's an impasse has come about, it could be a sign that there's perhaps one of you is growing more than the other and that you're not in sync. And so it's perhaps looking at a reflection of are there any unspoken fears, any unmet needs? And it just, in that, having said that, or there's different rhythms of evolution sort of happening here. But I got you, Shireen. Okay, that's lovely. Do you want to just leave our friends, our friends? Yes, they are friends. They're listeners. They're here with us on this life's journey.
Yeah.
And what
So
would you like to leave them with
I'm
before
just
you go?
just to say it's been lovely to be with you today, and just maybe just to just kind of bring something together, which is when you feel most stuck in life, when you're like and you feel most stuck, it's really to listen closely to what that stuckness might be trying to tell you, and in order for you to birth something new. So that feels like a real good thing to remember. But I want to just say, Carol Ann, thank you for the reminder, because actually physically, we do parts work, but actually I just thought, what would be nice if you just pull it out and you say, okay, here's there and here's there, and let's work with that, like that, and allow them to do their own thing without us having to think about it.
Yeah.
Just let them play. The hands have a huge percentage within our sensory motor cortex. So yeah.
Lovely.
Thank you for that. That was lovely. Thank you, Nomsa. And we'll
Thank
see
you,
you all
Shireen.
next week. Bye-bye.
Okay, yeah. Bye, Shireen.
Bye, Shireen.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking when, I was talking about in that relationship where possibly someone's growing more than the other one, and going back to when I was married and I was actually wanting to do my degree then. I had the opportunity to, but my ex-husband, or the husband at the time, he was like, oh, no, because he felt that we would then be stuck in that place and we couldn't move. So being able to get hold of what his fears were helped me to just realize that and say, well, look, I can do this, I could start it here. I could always go somewhere else if we need to move. So it actually took away that fear. And I did take up the opportunity that the place where I was working gave me to get day release and go and get my degree in maths. So, but, it could have been, we were sort of a little bit of an impasse. There was a bit of a stuckness. It's like, no, I want to do this. And it's like, no, I don't want you to. But then, yeah, I got curious and went, okay, so what is it that's really going on here? And it was his fear of being held in one place. And as it was, we didn't move. We didn't need to move. And I was able to, do the course and achieve it. So, yeah, be aware. It's recognizing where growth is wanting to happen and someone else is not on the other side, and actually getting to know, well, what actually is going on there, what fears haven't been spoken out, what needs haven't been met, and just recognizing there's different rhythms of evolution happening, so there's a lovely quote that I've been wanting to share. It keeps coming back to me about with everything that we're saying here. When nothing is moving on the outside, it's often because everything is rearranging on the inside. And I think that really it is recognizing that there is a lot going on at a deeper level, when what's going on out there seems like nothing's happening. And you feel like you're at an impasse. So I think I just like to leave. There's so many other things, could say, but I think really that, just recognize there are other powers going on. And it's about allowing ourselves to get into alignment. It's allowing ourselves to step in, be in divine timing, and know that there is divine timing. Everything happens at the right and proper time. And yeah, the number of times that I've had to sort of reminded myself of that, and then something's happened and it's like, oh, yes, this is the divine timing. It's meant to happen now. It wasn't meant to happen before. So just relax, let go, surrender, and breathe into, well, what is the stuckness that's going on here? what is the nature of this impasse, because each impasse can have a different nature to it, and it's recognizing that. So what would you like to leave our listeners with?
What would I like to leave you guys after Kero Ani has given you this powerful so what would I leave you is just thinking I think values and behavior are very, very, very important, guys, when it comes to the topic that Kero Ani has chosen today. The word impasse. It's really, really important to understand your value. Make love and justice operational. Because when you know your values, you're not going to compare your life with anybody else. And you will know that every behavior and every scar that you've gone through aligns with where you're going. Like Carol Ann said, when you're stuck, know that God is preparing something for you behind the scenes. As long you're not that person that sit and do nothing. So we're talking about like us, we have businesses. Sometimes we get to a point where we get stuck. So when you get stuck, you have to know that you can't give up. You can compare your business with somebody else. Know that there's something greater that is being prepared, or just maybe in that moment, like Shireen said, you just need to just stand still and just evaluate the messages with your business and stuff, and mostly listen to the voice of God. Sometimes it can feel like he's on holiday. Yeah. He's no answering, he's just quiet. But when he's not answering, he's telling you to stand still and focus.
And trust.
And trust.
Yeah.
Yes, and trust. So yeah, that's what I leave you guys with. And please do contact Shireen or Kero Ann or myself if you need coaching, guys. We're not just here to talk to you on social media. We do coaching as well. I am a matchmaker, a love harmonist. I call myself a love harmonist. And if you're looking for love, this is where you come at Ngosi Talk Shows and Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency, or you simply want to find your own voice and lead from within. So please do go to the website. It's www.hseia.coach and sign up, both to find your own voice or if it's the love that you're looking for. And on social media, we have two groups, Ngosi Talk Shows and Unique Billionaire Mindset. Follow Carol Ann, follow Shireen, and follow my pages as well. God bless everyone. Live with grace. Carol Ann will see you on next Tuesday. And I shall see you guys tomorrow with the grand